Yeah, how's it going, everybody? This is James with Recollection. This week we're doing kind of like a very short episode. AJ and I were just very busy with other things going on, Father's Day, vacations, stuff with the shop, stuff with work, and all that. But we still wanted to make a video, just going over a couple of things. There was a main theme of sort of like burnout and that sort of thing with TCGs and games that I want to go over today. But first off, I wanted to give a huge shout out to my friend Andrew Mendoza. He's one of our locals at the Haven, and I've known him for quite some time. He did pull Nia or Naya, whoever wants to correct me on that. He did pull that out of a gold pack today. He got second place at our locals, and when he opened his gold pack, you just saw her kind of pop out, and he was shaking. Everyone kind of made this huge noise, and it's really fun and exciting, and he deserves it. So whether he's keeping it for his collection because it's a fantastic card, or he's gonna sell it for like $900 or whatever crazy amount it's at, I just hope he gets a lot of enjoyment out of it. As far as our Central Florida locals go, we had like 13 people for today on a Sunday, which is kind of like our off day. That's really great to see. Still like a typical spread of heroes. We had a lot of Lorraines. We had some, I think we had a Windrye. A lot of Lorraines. We had a few Tamers, which is always good to see, like when Tamers participate as well. And I know Joe was on Water Xander. So at least everything was represented, like every hero. The main heroes anyway, not the lineage break heroes. But no, everyone had a great time. I really appreciate everyone coming out. If you are in the Central Florida area, or if you're going to Central Florida on vacation or something like that, just check us out in Castleberry. We would love to either teach you how to play or have you for locals. We always have like a great time with that. What else? We have a band notice coming tomorrow from Weaves of the Shore. There's a lot of hot takes on that. Some people think there'll be no bans. Some people think they'll do where they limit a card to one copy in your deck, such as Dungeon Guide. A lot of people think Dungeon Guide is just way too strong. I'm not so sure if they're going to do anything to Dungeon Guide. I think Dungeon Guide is like a very key card in the game because of how it affects leveling. I think the issue is the card itself is fine because you lose a lot of resources for playing it, but I think they need to take care of some of the card draw that like Lorraine, for example, has, because when you go from level 2 to 3 with Dungeon Guide, and she's cleaving and drawing a million cards and then doing Ascension and all this other stuff, and she's just drawing 50 cards a turn anyway, losing 2 cards with Dungeon Guide like doesn't really mean anything. So I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I think everyone wants Lorraine to kind of get taken down a peg or two though, just with the card draw insanity. So looking forward to that. But that is kind of leading into the main topic I wanted to go over, and that involves burnout, just game fatigue, stuff like that. Something that kind of brought that up was AJ and I specifically have been playing technically this set, or the majority of this set, for almost like a year and a half now, which seems kind of crazy because the game just came out, what was it, like a month ago or a month or... I forgot what the release date was, but it's been like 4 to 8 weeks, something like that. Time's been flying by like crazy. The thing is, though, from the very first time that Weaves released the print and play, AJ and I have been playing it. We went to FedEx Kinko's. We printed out like very thick card stock. Printed, made our own cards, played the decks. Every time there was a revision, we were testing that out. They would spoil more cards. We would test that out. And I think what happens is eventually, it's perfectly normal, you start to burn out. You start to get a little tired. Lorraine doesn't always win, but she wins the majority of the time because of her card draw capabilities, her board clearing. She can aggro, she can play mid-range, she can kind of do everything. That doesn't mean that the other characters have no shot at winning, because they definitely do win. The point is, though, is that fatigue can set in, and I think a lot of players who do really enjoy the game, when the fatigue hits, they get very like defensive or kind of reserved about getting burnt out. Because I think if they feel like they announce that, hey, I need to take a break, everyone's like, well, they're quitting, and it's like they're not. They want to give the game. They want to take a little break. Get some breathing room. And the big thing is, and some people don't want to hear this because, let's say Grand Archive is their favorite game. It's their, quote, main game. Kind of like you're talking about an MMO, and it's like, what do you mean? It's like, this class, and I never will play any other class. There are other card games. A big one that's coming out soon is Force of Will, which I know a lot of our locals have played the digital version. Or, I can't believe I just said Force of Will. Shadowverse. I was thinking of Force of Will because Scott was talking about Force of Will today, and he was saying it was his main game, which is why I was getting that confused. That's so funny. But Shadowverse Evolve, and it just looks good. I played the digital version a little bit, but I'm looking forward to the cardboard version. And the whole point is, a break is good. Switching to another game for a little while, it kind of lets that game rest a little bit. You play another game, which also enhances like your TCG portfolio, so to speak, and the more the better. I think that goes a long way with being a card player in the long run. This isn't like saying like, oh, stop playing Grand Archive and go play Shadowverse. I think the point is you can play other games. A thing actually my wife recommended was Naoki Yoshida, Final Fantasy 14, Square Enix, made a big, in a forum post they were talking about like, oh, I'm burnt out, I'm bored of 14. And I can just quote him right here. He said, it's all right to not play your main game every day. Since it's just a game, you can stop forcing yourself if it's hard on you to keep that up. Rather, it just piles up unnecessary stress if you limit yourself into playing just the one game, since there's so many other games out there. So do come back and play if it's in your heart's content when the next content comes out. So for card games, that would be like, a new expansion, new supplement set, new main set, whatever. And then stop it to play other games before you get burnt out, and then come back for the next set. This would actually make the game designers happy, him being in this example. In the end, I think this is the best solution I can answer for keeping people motivated to play the game in question. And I completely agree. I think what happens if you don't do that is players are playing even though they don't want to, because they feel like they have to be committed like hardcore to it. And then the burnout is just that much more evident, because you're probably getting, since you're like dragging yourself to go play, you're probably grumpier. You're probably just saying like, yeah, this card is, this deck is still broken and I'm still dealing with it. And like, why do that to yourself? I think tomorrow's ban notice may, if they do ban cards or whatever they decide to do, if they do anything, it will influence the way certain decks are constructed and how gameplay is going to proceed from there. So that could be a fresh take on how we're going to play Grand Archive. We also have Fractured Crown coming up in a couple of months. And that's another thing. Like, obviously, you want to practice for regionals that are coming up. And if you want gold packs and working on your collection, do whatever you have to do. But it's not always a horrible thing to just take a break. And then, come back in a few weeks, come back when Fractured Crown comes out, and then you have like a whole new set of cards to build decks with and do all that stuff. I just feel like a lot of players are very hesitant. They feel like they have to keep playing. Even if they're grumpy, even if they're bringing down other players, like it's like a job to them, and it just shouldn't be like that. So anywho, I'm curious what other people think. I know a lot of our players play multiple games. They love Grand Archive, but they also play Flesh and Blood. They also play Final Fantasy. They play Battle Spirits. I'm sure there's others I'm missing. I know a lot of them, and it's another anime game. We'll be playing Shadowverse Evolve. I didn't say Force of Will that time. It's just good to have options, and also like it's nice that If you play other games, you may meet new players, and then you can tell them all about Grand Archive, or vice versa. And it just keeps the community like intact and growing, and options are never a bad thing. So other than that, the next episode, AJ and I will be focusing on whatever comes from the ban notice. We'll talk about how locals are doing. I don't think there's any more spoilers coming out for another, I think at least like 4 weeks. I think it's like mid-July they're resuming. So we won't be talking about spoilers, but we may do deck matches, stuff like that we've captured with the camera. I don't know, but we're always looking forward to doing more content. This was just kind of like a mini episode to bring up something that I have seen starting to pop up in like the Discord and stuff like that, where people are like, oh, we still have like another 2 months before Fractured Crown. And it's like, so take a break. Final Fantasy 16 comes out next week. Play that. There's all sorts of crazy games that are coming out. You don't have to go through the trenches on Grand Archive and just like headbutt yourself into a wall, because you're just going to get grumpy, and then it's going to bring down other players and stuff like that. So, I mean, people want you to enjoy, they want your company, but they also want you to be happy. So, just take that into consideration. But either way, I know when AJ edits this video, he's going to make fun of me to no end because I said Force of Will. Oddly enough, another thing that happened with Force of Will today was we were selling copies of Force of Will, because we also sell Magic and stuff like that. So I do apologize again for bringing that up. But yeah. Anywho, why don't you tell me, or AJ and I, what your thoughts are on taking breaks from card games or even video games? Just keeping things fresh, or do you think you just, personally, do you just keep playing and getting those reps in until the next set comes out? Just let me know. And other than that, guys, I appreciate everything. Thank you so much. Blah, blah, blah. Like, comment, and subscribe, and just let us know what you think. Take care.